Alright guys, welcome to Brianinja another video, and to a very special day, because today is the first time that I've ever filmed a video specifically for YouTube. Or wait, I've not, the first track video that I've ever filmed specifically for YouTube, because I've done the track videos in the past. I did 5 of those of my best races from high school, but those were not specifically filmed for YouTube. They're just like highlights I had, and my dad filmed them with me like years ago. This is my first time ever filming a specific track video for YouTube, so I finally clarified that. But yeah, today we're gonna do a video called 5 tips to make you a better runner and racer. And these are small changes that I wish I knew when I was like running competitively as much, because I do sometimes now, but not that much. So these are 5 changes I think are really helpful. I'm gonna show you right here. So let's go. All right guys, I know I've done some silly tutorials in the past, or like some like satirical parody tip type of things, but today I'm serious as a heart attack. These are all actual tips and very serious, and I think they're helpful to run. So with that being said, let's go. All right guys, so tip number 1, don't look behind you while you're running in a race. Because no matter how you do it, you're going to lose speed, and you're going to also lose confidence if you're looking back. So even though it could be helpful and tempting to see what's behind you, it's not worth it. Looking back is going to slow you down no matter what, and it's just not a good thing. So a sideways look could be okay, like seeing what's across the track, which, I mean, probably won't happen unless it's a really long race, or if it's like a cross-country course, I guess, too. But typically speaking, to try to keep your head forward, it's better, it keeps you more confident, it keeps you more relaxed. It's not worth looking back. Never look back. On to tip number 2. And this is about cutting into the race course. So this is more of a track tip than a cross-country tip. Most of these things are applicable to both, but this is more of a track exclusive tip. By the way, speaking of tips, I should not put these in my pocket while I'm running. I don't know why I did that. But that was not an official tip. But tip number 2 is to cut in. So if you're in a track race, and say it's a race where you're cutting in across the track, or whatever it is, whatever the case of cutting in, because every event can be different and stuff, and there's different rules for different tracks. But whatever it is, you have to cut in in a particular way, like this. So say if I'm in this lane, I can cut in here. You have to do very gradual. Oh man. So let's say I'm in lane 6, I'm cutting in like this. I want to be as gradual as possible, going to lane 1 before the curve. And honestly, that wasn't as gradual as possible. It could have been more gradual, but I wanted to stay on camera so you can see the cut in. In real life, I might go even more gradually than that because I have the space. So as straight as possible, we'll go in diagonal is the best, because that way you're the most efficient, you're losing the least steps. Obviously, for example, if you're going like this, like just straight vertical that way during the run, that's obviously very inefficient. So it's naturally more sensible to go as straight as possible while going diagonal. You just want to get to lane 1 before the curve, assuming it's a long distance race, because that way you won't be on the outside for the curve. That's just how you're most efficient, and you save the most steps and the most effort. So that's why that's important. Now that one was kind of hard to explain for me, so next one will be a bit simpler. This is just to keep running through a finish line. See the finish line is right here. This is the finish line. Keep running through the finish line. Don't stop at all until you get to the finish line, because this is one that I never thought of until like after I graduated, of course. And I always stopped a little bit like this. I didn't take it seriously, but this is such a big difference maker here. I'm gonna show you. So here's like the don't. So I'm coming in really hard, coming in, and then I just break. So I'm trying to land on the finish line. That's what it looked like there. I slowed down before the finish line so I could stop by the finish line. That seems like, okay, you know, I made it to the finish line, who cares? But the difference is huge, because the last 2 steps I was going slower to stop right on the finish line. It's very inefficient. I'm gonna show you how to do it and how I didn't do it when I should have done it, but this is the way to do it. Just better running, but that's just my running form. It's not great. But that is the way to do it. That way I didn't slow down at all going through a line. It's much better and saves you a lot of time. Or not a lot of time, but it could save you from losing. I had a race where I literally lost due to going slower, and the other guy was still going fast through the line. That kind of taught me that lesson too late. But yeah, it's a big difference maker. It can affect races if you go too slow at the end. So that little second you save by going fast through a line is very important. Even if you're doing the mile or 2 mile or whatever, it can still be helpful. Or even a 5K. All right, guys, the first 3 tips are pretty straightforward. I think everyone would agree with me on those 3 tips. Like, I think they're pretty much just like factual. The 4th one and 5th one are a bit more subjective, but I still think they're good. This one is about watches, and I've never had a watch, as you can see, nothing on here. But a lot of people run with watches, especially these days, I know. And a lot of people will look at them when they run. I look at Strava signs when I run because I have Strava on my phone. But a lot of people will look at watches when they run. And I'll see in races, they'll, you know, like, I'll demonstrate. I'll see people go through a line and do like this as they go through a line. And I don't think it's bad. Like, I don't actually think that's the worst thing to do. It's probably the least important tip, but I still thought to include it. But I see a lot of people doing that, or they go to the starting line and they press start on their watch as they're going, which I'm not a fan of, because I think it just slows you down and distracts you. Like, And to me, especially when there's a timer during a race, there's no real point. For an easy run, of course, or like a distance run, whatever. But I think for a race, I don't necessarily encourage that because I think it's just pointless. I know you have to have it for Strava and everything. I use Strava or whatever app, running app or tracker you use. I get the point of that because I also use it. But I think it's much more, during a race, I think it's better to not use it and to not be clicking on your watch the whole time. I think that's just distracting. And it doesn't slow you down that much, but it can make you kind of distracted from the point. And I would say do not get distracted by watches when you're running. That's just my tip. All right, guys, now for a meta tip, which is kind of regarding the first 4 tips, and that's to not overdo these first 4 tips. They're important. I think they're all helpful. That's why I'm saying them. But I think if you overdo them too much or you're worried about them too much, like if you're worried too much about cutting in or about running to a finish line or about not looking back or not using your watch, all those things are good things to do in my opinion. But I think if you worry about them too much, it can be counterproductive. So don't like obsess over it. Like I think they're good tips, but don't like, if you have to glance at your watch or if you have to glance aside, like it's not the end of the world. It's just a tip. And again, these are all like kind of like micro changes you can make to improve yourself while not being like extremely important or extremely life changing. So while they're important, I would say obviously run to a finish line. Like that's just a given that I didn't used to think of. But it's not like the world's gonna end for you if you don't do them. These are things that you could do and should do, I think. But don't focus on them so much. Like it's more important to just run it than to worry so much about like the details. But that being said, they are important tips nonetheless. All right, guys, my 5th and final tip, which kind of is on a similar page to my meta tip, is to not take anything too seriously. For instance, like if you have a certain pair of shoes that you like, or your favorite pair of clothing, or compression socks, or a watch, or anything that you really need to run or you think you need to run, those can be good for you, obviously, and very helpful if you like them. But don't get so worked up over them that you need them. Don't be so reliant on that, because say if you forget your favorite watch at home or whatever, and then you don't want to run. Like the main thing is to run. Like all these things that are either tips or things you like are important, but the main thing is just get out there and run, and that will take care of itself for the most part if you're getting out there and running consistently. So don't get so worried about all the little details. Obviously they're important, but don't get so worried. For example, the other day I wore flip-flops when I was going for a run. I forgot to wear sneakers. I just took off my flip-flops and went barefoot, which obviously you don't want to go barefoot if it's dangerous because that can have risks. But at the same time, like I think people worry too much about details to the point that they're not, they're like, oh, I need to have this perfect thing or else it's not going to work. And sometimes you just have to do it and not worry so much. Today I have my Dolphins color shoes, but often I just have barefoot, or I have, I choose to run barefoot because it's good for your feet to run barefoot occasionally. So basically my point here is to not get so worked up on details. No matter what you have, you can still run as long as you have, your legs and you're healthy, and obviously if it's safe, you can go for a run. It's not that bad. So this is for racing and for just practicing and whatever. It can't hurt to run, and you're gonna improve a lot by doing so, even if you don't have your favorite conditions or if the weather's bad, whatever. And obviously, I'm saying if the weather's too, a little bit hot, not like if it's dangerously hot or stormy or anything. But just basically, my main thing, my TLDR of this is to not get so worked up on details and just run it essentially. All right, guys. So that was my 5 top tips for running a track meet or a cross country meet. And the last tip was kind of just applicable to any kind of running, not even for a meet, but just like any kind of run that you go on. But yeah, that's basically my tips for running. Those are my top 5 that I can think of right now. I'm probably gonna think of a 6th one on the way home and be mad that I didn't include it. But for now, those are my top 5. I think they are very important and very good to follow. Basically, my overarching theme is to just go out, run it, and then worry about the little things as well. But don't worry too much, because the more you run, the better you'll be at running, and it'll be very helpful for you. That's a very general theme, but it's true. I'm gonna try. Speaking of running, I'm gonna try to get out here more. I run around my neighborhood and around like trails near my house a lot. But I've never ran on this track before. I've actually never been here before filming this tutorial. They went to Google Maps to find the nearest track to film this. But maybe now that I know it's here, I can come here more and do some more runs. And maybe a challenge or 2 on this track next month or something. I don't know. I've never filmed a challenge track video for this channel. Like I said, this is my first ever video on a track specifically filmed for this channel. Maybe next month I can do my first ever track challenge on this channel. That's a very long qualification, but it's still cool. But thank you guys for watching. I like this track a lot. I think it's pretty. It only has 6 lanes, but still nice because it's blue. So it's still cool enough. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next week. Peace out.